Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of The Balanced Business Dad. As always, I am Dustin Hoog, one of your co-hosts, and with me is my other co-host, RJ Campbell. RJ, how are we doing?
We're doing great. Hello, guys.
Guys, can you believe that this is episode 15, and I am super excited about this episode as we have a special guest that I have known a very short amount of time, probably less than a month, but an executive coach out of California, correct?
That's correct.
Andrew Simila. And man, does he have a story. Andrew and I met at an event that I was speaking at, and he was the keynote speaker in Kansas City. And guys, I was blown away. It was one of the best keynotes I've ever heard, and I've been to a lot of these things, and he just wowed me all the way, and I knew I had to learn more about him, get to know his story, and why not share it with the rest of us out there, because I know that we are going to get so many nuggets. Because the hour I got to hear him speak, I don't think I wrote so many notes down. It was pretty incredible. So Andrew, thank you so much and welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Dustin. RJ, thank you much for having me. And hey to everyone that's listening.
Yeah, guys, so we're just going to jump right into this. And Andrew, first of all, I'm going to admit it out there. So we always try to do a little bit of background on people that we're going to interview. And you may be the most secretive person on the internet I've ever seen. I think I found one thing about you online, and it was actually about, a church that I guess you were serving at. And I was like, why is this guy so hidden on here? So, you got to start from the beginning and tell us who you are. Besides, I know you're a husband, and I know you're a father, and I know you're a coach, but who are you?
Yeah. Great question. Definitely hidden for sure. Not intentional though. Okay. And I think, I think for me, I was a pastor for quite some years and have been in ministry since I was a kid. You know, I got saved at 17 and really became evangelistic and really cared about my friends meeting Jesus. And that kind of led me on this journey of what would it look like for me to walk that out in my own personal life. And so I became a pastor, was pastor for about 9 years. And I just kind of transitioned recently in the last 2 years to executive coaching full time and be able to continue to help people in that space. But yeah, it's not easy to find me online. I think when it comes to social media or it comes to anything like that, I'm always slow to the game, but I don't know. I guess I'm looking at stepping into that a little bit more into the public space. But yeah, for me, my focus has always been just the people I'm sitting right in front of or on the call with across from in this Zoom or on a podcast or whatever it is. I'm just really intentional with the people I'm with, and I guess I could put myself out there a little bit more in the visual space. But yeah.
Wow, that's cool. I mean, talk about being present. I just want to be intentional with the people I'm with. I love that. So tell us a little bit about, your life. I mean, you're a husband, right? How long, how many kids, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So my wife and I, we met in New York. We've been married for 9 years coming this April. And it's exciting. Yeah. Just to be married, to go through all these seasons of life and marriage. I have 3 kids. I got a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 6-year-old. And we're right in the thick of it. And it's cool. Yeah. We live in California. We love the beach. We love being out in nature. We love going on adventures. We love camping. We love surfing. We love snowboarding, hiking. In fact, we can do it all in one day here in California. And so, yeah, we're just, we love it. We run our own businesses. Like you mentioned, I'm an executive coach with Novus Global. My wife creates content for brands. We kind of always thought, man, let's create a life that is inspiring, a life that's impactful, a life that we actually do what we love. And so we kind of set out on this journey to create a career around our life instead of a life around our career. And we just decided, man, we want to be a family. We want to do everything together. We want to raise our kids as the primary and as the focus of it. And how can we create resource? How can we create value? How can we create impact through the things that we love and continue to do what we love? So it's great.
Man, I love that. Wow, that was great. So, Andrew, on the Balanced Business Day, we talk a lot of the 6 pillars, right? Which we talk about: faith, health, marriage, fatherhood, brotherhood and career. And it sounds like a lot of your life is revolved around every single one of them. But I would love to, hear kind of your grasp when I talk about those pillars. What do you hear? What do you feel? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I do hold those pillars in my own life as high value. When it comes to faith, I think that's obviously, for me, it's the foundation. It's the thing that we build everything upon. It's my belief in Jesus. It's my belief in what God's doing in and through my life and in and through other people's lives. It's everything. It's the it's the foolish man that builds his house on the sand, Scripture tells us, but it's the wise man that builds his house on the rock. And so when you say the word foundation, I think no matter what winds come my way, no matter what seasons or circumstances or situations, my family, my life, my personal choice to build my life on this rock, Jesus, is my firm foundation. And I believe that no matter what comes our way, if it's built on Jesus, we can make it through it. So foundation of faith is everything. Health is so vital. It's like it's like who we have to become in order to accomplish what we're committed to. And it's really like, wow, I want to have, I sometimes equate it to like the gas in the tank, it's like, or even just the car and the quality of it in itself. It's like on the outside, it can look like your life is amazing, and like everything is like awesome, but on the inside, it's the stuff that's kind of unseen. And so whether that's a physical, emotional, spiritual, mental, or financial health, I think health is everything. It gets you to where you actually want to go. And so, marriage is vital. And I've had so much fun being in love with my wife and dating her and being married to her. And it's a daily thing that we are continuing to carve out and figure out. And so, when it comes to those pillars of marriage, fatherhood, I mean, being a dad, growing up, for me, I never had posters on my wall of like athletes or superstars, like I want to be like Mike or nothing. And I always admired people like that, or Tony Hawk in the skating, or surfing, Kelly Slater or whatever. But I just never grew up and was like, yo, I want to be that. In fact, I just always, and I can honestly say, I just wanted to be a dad. And I don't know where that came from. Maybe it was my dad hanging on the chain link fence at my baseball games and how that impacted me so much. But I think for me, it was just like, when I grow up, I want to be a dad. It didn't sound sexy when you're like 16, but like, I think as you get older, it's like, and you have kids, I think I can accomplish a lot in life. I know for sure that's what we're going after. But at the end of the day, if I was to die tonight, man, the impact on my kids is everything to me. And so I want to make sure I'm always having this moment, freezing it and holding it. Shout out to Eminem, where I can just with my kids not let those moments pass me by, and really maximize that. And then brotherhood, personally with blood brothers, I have 3 of them, so that's strong. And then my homies, my friends, the people I call family, they're thick and thin through everything with me. And then business is an awesome endeavor.
That's awesome, man. First of all, so many questions based off that. You mentioned something.
We went through all 6. Sorry.
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's good. I love it. We went right down the line. The one question I had actually is from one of the first things you said, because I know you're on the West Coast. How did you meet your wife in New York?
Yeah, no, she went out there. She went out to New York in 2012 to work and to do life with friends and people that she was involved with. And I went out there to kind of explore what it would look like for me to live in a city, as well as was a part of a church and a movement out there. And so for me, we just kind of met at an event one night, and it was just kind of a serendipity type moment, and it was a vibe. But I chased her for 1 year and a half actually. And I asked her out 12 times across that year and a half. And she said no every single time. So it was a New York hustle. I had to go after it. But once she said yes, we were engaged 3 months after that, and then married. So it was married in 4 years, or 4 months. So it was awesome. It moved fast once it finally got going.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You knew it. You just had to bring her around to that.
Yeah.
That's all, sometimes we know things and the other people just they take their time processing a little longer. So I love that story in Kansas City, and I thought it was great. You mentioned in the start of this that you were saved and have kind of been in ministry since you were 17. Is there a story around that? How do you feel like you were called to that, or just one day, hey, it happened?
Yeah, no, I grew up in a Christian home, and I was fortunate enough to have parents that valued faith and valued us knowing about Jesus. And shout out to my parents. They're amazing, and I love them to death. And they just kind of raised us in a way that wasn't really like, hey, this is what you have to do, but this is who we are and what we believe. And I just kind of, when you grow up in a Christian home, your parents, tell you whether you have a choice or not, you're going to church on Sunday, that kind of vibe. Like for me in my house, we're going to serve like that kind of thing. And I was like, all right. But when I was 16, I went to a summer camp, and it was a radical moment in my life where in worship, the youth band was terrible, but God's presence was awesome. And it's usually how it goes. You don't need a lot for God to do a lot. And I think for me, it was really awesome because I just was like, it became real. I wasn't secondhand smoking it anymore. It was like, I really experienced it for myself. Like, wow, who Jesus is. I felt the Holy Spirit. It was a moment in my life where it was transformational. And so from there, I really, at 16, I came back down the mountain from summer camp, like, don't let the fire burn out, burn all your Blink-182 CDs, like that kind of moment. And now I'm like calling my youth pastor, like, hey man, you got those CDs? Like, but yeah, I think at that moment I threw it all away and was after Jesus wholeheartedly. I started writing music. I started talking to my friends. I started going to the skate park. I started surfing with all my friends. I just couldn't shut up about it. And we ended up seeing our youth ministry grow in all of our communities and our neighborhoods. And the next summer camp, it was like, I'm 17 years old. This is my time. I'm going to make this thing count. And so, it was just set me off on that journey of like, I wonder what's possible when you're on fire for Jesus.
That's awesome. What a story.
Yeah. So
love that. Moving on, a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 6-year-old.
Help me.
So,
yeah.
You guys are outnumbered because I have an almost 6-year-old and a 2-year-old. So I don't have that one in the middle, and I couldn't imagine there being one more in the middle of those two.
Yeah. Totally outnumbered. The 4-year-old's like amazing. So he's the easy one. But it's, having 3 kids is awesome. And it's crazy at the same time. I think what's beautiful about having kids is each one is so different. And when you had your first one, where maybe for me, it was just like, I don't know if we can have another, because I don't know what can beat my daughter, I don't know what's better than, I don't know. I'm scared. Like, I don't know who's going to come out and what's going to, like, are they going to be as cool as this girl? Is she gonna, I don't know. And so I wrestled with that. But when my second child was born, it was like your heart expands, like every dad I think would know. And this new human and this personality is like amazing. It's so different than my daughter. And obviously with the second one, I was thinking the same. I don't know if the third one is even going to be able to compete or keep up. And so Mickey, our youngest, comes along, and he's just amazing. And he's just like full of life, and he's like a wrecking ball. He's like the size of a wrecking ball as well. And he weighs as much as a wrecking ball. And for some reason, he's just so cute. He's just in destructo mode the whole time. And I hate it, but it's cool. It's like, I wonder who he's going to be when he grows up. But yeah, having 3 kids, managing it, balancing that lifestyle of all the other pillars, and then also creating value and importance around, being a dad is huge.
Yeah, I think that's so funny, because I can remember those times after we had our first son, and then when you're having the second one, thinking, man, I think they're going. You got to sue. We just think they're going to be the same person. There's just going to be another one exactly like them. And they were and still are. They're 180-degree opposites, but in great ways. They're both. It's so funny. You're like, wow, this one's totally different.
Yep. And then they make some type of impactful mistake or wreck something or break something. And then you turn to your wife and go, that's so you. It's like, are you serious? It's you. It's not me. It's you. Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of you.
So the 3 kids we talked about, obviously there's some craziness going on with that. And I'm not going to say you went out of serving, because I think what you do now, you're still serving, maybe in a different role, different kind of ministry.
Absolutely.
But tell me about the balance. I mean, you left something you've known for a long time in a ministry to go as an executive, a coach. And that I obviously, a coach myself, know that the way you're still serving and building people up in a different kind of ministry. But how did that transition happen? How do you go from being in ministry to now an executive coach?
Yeah. So I think, as a pastor, I think I'm always a pastor. It's not what I do, it's who I am. And so whether I'm a part of an organized church, on staff or salary or whatever, for me, it's more about who I am and what I believe God's calling us to do as people who love him, to love him with all our hearts and to love our neighbor. And so I think everyone, if they want to be, has got the opportunity to pastor and to love and to care for people. So that's never been something that I've stopped doing. But the transition was just, like, what would it look like for us to step into serving people in a different way? And what would it look like for us to go after and help people create the life that they want? And I think that's my vision and my goal, is like, how often do people get in their own way? And preaching and being on platform and pastoring. One thing about being a pastor at a church, as our generation makes it, is like, you don't get to choose who you pastor, right? Like, someone rocks up to your church and like, can you pray for me? And you're like a punk if you say no. You can't say no. You're like, of course I'm gonna pray for you. You don't even get to choose. Someone calls you pastor and you didn't even get the choice of like, if I'm your pastor, or like, I don't know. I guess I'm your pastor. And so one thing about executive coaching is really cool, is I get to really coach people I love to coach, and I get to choose who I want to coach and really look at their lives and their vision and where they want to go, and then kind of see how they might be getting in their own way and explore that with them, and take a look at, what they think is possible or what might even be possible beyond that. And so, the transition just happened because I felt like we were looking at stepping into something a little bit more specific to helping people in their specific spheres of life, and not so general. And with preaching, it's like 45 minutes of talking. It's like a monologue, and people listen, and you tell them, primarily it's like, this is the scripture, this is what I think, this is what you can do, here's 5 things or whatever. But like with coaching, I love it because it's real it's such an exploration. It's like it holds a space for questions. It's a dialogue. It's not a monologue. It's creating value in every conversation, and who knows where those conversations can go, what value and impact and results it can create. And so it was just a transition about, hey, I wonder what's next, what's new.
And falling into executive coaching, right? What's funny to me is me being able to see you in person. Like I said, I guess it's been 3 or 4 weeks now. It looked like you were born to do that. It looked like you were born to speak to people, but to really move people. So I can understand the pastoral background coming in there. But with that, how you made it into the business thing, and it was a keynote on choices, and it was just absolutely amazing. Yeah. You were born to do this, and so obviously, God's calling you into your right role at this right season in life. It was pretty amazing to see that. I had no idea. It's only been 2 years, because you look, act, sound, and have just as much knowledge as the best of them out there that have been doing it for 30 years. So that's really a cool story there.
I appreciate that. I think you just, you have the opportunity to grab everything that was good from your last chapter for what you've gone through. And I think life gives you that amazing opportunity to choose what you bring in. It's like when I was married with my wife, there's things in my family that we chose not to, and there's things that in her family we chose not to bring in. But there's a lot of really good from where we've come from, and what's the marriage we want to create, and what's the life we want to create. And so same with the last season. It's easy to look at something from a victim's perspective or a victim mentality, or feel like whatever about a situation or a last season. But my choice was to create the life I want. And so being a victim gets you the sympathy you want. It just doesn't get you the life you want. And so for me, it was like, what would it look like to create the life I want and to choose all the really rad things I got by being in that pastoral role and actually bring it into this next season as a coach, and how much more I can care for people, how much more I can help people, how much more can we serve and love and see people grow and step into the life that they actually want for theirs. So it's been a really cool season to take that ownership and to say, hey, let's choose the future and let's create it. It's a generative future. It doesn't have to be a default future. So
that's awesome. We talk about what it means to be the balanced business dad, what that means. And, after a lot of the conversation, we talk about that it's waking up every morning and striving to be better in these pillars of life than you were yesterday, right? To be better in our faith. It's to be the better in our health. It's to be the better husband, et cetera, et cetera. And you've pretty much pinpointed all that because it's the life you choose that you want to live. And that's how. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I'd love to even add like an upgrade for that with the listeners here. Like better is amazing. But when I look at scripture, I think like, I don't have any record of Jesus ever doing better. I have a record of him doing new. And like, for me, it's like, I wonder what's new for people. Like if your marriage is on the rocks and it's not like where it needs to be, a bad marriage is still a bad marriage. So like, what would a new marriage look like? I want to invite people into a new opportunity it's a new heaven and a new earth. You are in Christ, a new creation. For the old is gone as the new is here. It's like God offers so much more than what we deem as better. And so even in business, man, my business has been through a pandemic. It's been situated, like we saw people do new things. Like you go to New York City right now and there's restaurants that are on the street now. And it's like, y'all didn't even have like tables, and now you got like 18 tables outside. It's not the same. It's a new opportunity for people in life to create what they want, and that comes down to choice. And so it's not to say that better isn't great. It's just an upgrade to say, I wonder what's new and what's on the horizon for people's lives.
Guys, so I don't know if you saw what just happened or heard what just happened, but when you think that you have things figured out in your business and man, you're doing so good, and then a coach will say one thing and it's going to screw your mind up, and now that's all I'm going to be thinking about is not better, it's new. Holy cow. Like my mind is literally blown. Like everything on my whiteboards all across my office right now, I got a erase. That is a coach, ladies and gentlemen. That is a coach right there. Wow.
Andrew just screwed up 7 hours of work for Dustin and I. We've been doing a bunch of brainstorming about our brands and about our businesses, and we've used the word better 832 times. So we can erase all the word better and just like, dang it, we thought we had this figured out. We thought we were geniuses, and we just got beaten up in one sentence.
We really did.
Well,
No, that is
new invites you into so much more, And
wow.
I love it.
So powerful.
Yeah. When you look at your pillars, the faith, health, marriage, fatherhood, brotherhood, businesses. Like I have a brother, right? And it's like I have 3 of them. And if you have siblings, you know what that's like. You go through seasons in life. And for me to say, man, I want a better relationship with my brother, it's like, I don't even know what that looks like. But for me to erase the whiteboard like you guys are about to do in about 20 minutes, it's like, I wonder what a new relationship would look like. And sometimes that calls us to personally like a forgiveness or a dealing with a resentment or a bitterness, or maybe it was a letdown in your business, or maybe the relationship with your kids, there was something that went on and you just want to build like a better relationship with your kids. And it's not really everything that you always wanted it to be. It's like life gives you this amazing opportunity at every single morning you wake up to go, I wonder what new looks like. Man, I wonder what new it looks like in my marriage. Like, it's not just, hey, we want to have a better date night. I wonder what a new opportunity of intimacy and a new opportunity of, so it's just really inviting you into beyond what you think is possible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like you said, we spent hours on that, but all right. No, thank you so much for that. That is great. Hey, just a couple more questions just to close it out, because I have a lot of work to do now, but when, Andrew, what was one time that you really felt just completely out of balance in your life, and what did you do to kind of get those things back on track where they need to be?
Yeah. I think, I think it's for anyone that's listening, it's like every day you feel that, right? But at the same time, it's a choice you make to go, okay, cool. What would balance look like? I don't know. Like what does it look like for me to be in balance? And so I think I used to view the idea of balance as like one of those tipping scales where you put one, bit of weight on one side and then the other lifts up, and it's like that, the balance scale. And I felt like I could never really get it, because I'm like, I really want to spend time with my kids, but then like we got to go on a date night and we don't want to be with our kids, and it's like, I got to build my business. I got to move things forward financially. But then at the same time, it's like, but there's a lot that's happening in my house. I got to go to the gym. I got to work out. I got to think, there's so much to juggle, I think is the word I would use. It's like I'm juggling. Yep. And I think a transition I made, or an upgrade I made, was just like to stop viewing it as like that balance scale and to view it as like a bicycle tire. And it was interesting because when you look at like a bike wheel, within the wheel, there's spokes. And if each spoke in the wheel was something like, let's just say a pillar, like one spoke was faith, one was health, one was marriage. Faith is kind of transcends through it all. But let's just say health, marriage, fatherhood, brotherhood, business. And like when the wheel rotates, the pressure that gets put on that spoke is essentially like, that's where I'm putting my focus. And so the idea of balance is realizing that all of them are equal in value, that we actually value all of these pillars, that we want all of them to move forward. We want all of them to succeed, but not bringing guilt into it where you can't do this, you can't, but it's more so, hey, it's kind of like that analogy of like when you rock home and you're been, at work all day and you're on your phone and your kids run up to you and it's like, just put the phone down. Yeah. Right. It's like, if I'm at my kid's game, or if I'm with my kid, wherever at the house, it's like this spoke on the bike wheel is being pressure. Like this is the full focus of my attention. And so, when I'm at work, or when I'm working on business ideas, or if I'm having conversations with people around, like, this is exactly where I'm at. This is what I'm focusing on. And so balance, I find, is realizing or identifying what those spokes are in your life. And when you're actually doing them, putting that focus, putting that attention, the time, energy, effort, the resources into that. And then I would say the air in the tire is integrity. And so knowing that you can ride a bike without air in the tire, it just sucks and no one likes to do it. And you get there like super slow and it's like so much effort. And it's, but with air in the tire, it's like, man, your workability and the trust goes to a whole nother level. And so I would say integrity keeps those things in balance even more so.
Well, that was an amazing answer. Love that. Thank you for that. One last question.
Yeah.
What's the cool thing you're working on today? What's the season that you're working on right now?
Yeah, I like that question. I also hate that question, but I would say we just bought a really cool spot in Joshua Tree, and it's going to be a really cool rental property. And the idea for this particular property is great because we want to create a home where our friends can come and our families can come and people that we know can come and people that we don't know can come and experience home. And so we're neck deep in a renovation, and we're at that place where it's like when you're 8 months pregnant. It's like when you first get pregnant, everyone's like, no way. It's like, we're pregnant and it's amazing. We bought a house, or whatever. And then 8 months in, every single human is asking you, so when is the baby due? It's like, or when is the renovation done? Or when is the home? And it's like, just get this thing out of me, like I'm done. I'm so tired. I'm freaking over this thing. And so it is thrilling. It is exciting. It is new and it is awesome. And we're right around the corner from opening that place up and to our friends and to our family and to our community. And so I would say that's something that I'm working on right now, currently neck deep in it. And it's cool. It's great.
That's awesome, man. Well, again, thank you so much for this time today. I know I got a ton of good nuggets out of it, and I will be taking notes. I have to change everything about it because it's not better now. It's got to be new. So you created a lot more work for me, and yet that's what a good coach does. So thank you for that. Thank you for your time today. If there's anything we can ever do for you, please reach out. But man, this was great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah. And if anyone that's listening wants to know more about Novus Global, you can find it at novusglobal.com, or hit me up directly. You can you probably can't find me online based on
Nope.
Dustin Hoog. But yeah, reach out. It's exciting. Just want to help people create the life they want. So it's exciting.
Awesome. RJ, if you want to tell them where to find this and all the other episodes.
Yep, I sure will. So again, Andrew, thanks for your time, and all of you dads out there that listen, thank you very much for listening to the podcast. And just remember, after when you listen to it, what helps us out, download it, rate it, review it, and then of course share it, so that other dads can hear these same great messages that we're putting out, and so they can listen to what Andrew has to say, because it was fantastic. And you can you can always find the podcast at your normal podcast outlets, Apple and Google and Spotify, and directly from our website, which is thebalancedbusinessdad.com. You can download it there. And that's probably the easiest. If you want to reach Dustin and I, we have a Facebook page, which is thebbdad. Or facebook.com/thebbdad. So you can communicate with us there, send us a message, reach out. We'd love to have conversations and keep them going and talk about all these great ideas that are coming through today.
Awesome, guys. Well, again, let's focus on that question. What does new look like for you? Make it a great one, guys. We'll talk soon.